this tension between two different ways of thinking.
Exactly. A tension between, a very rigid corporate structure and then, well, creative intuition.
And our mission today is basically to act as your language guides.
Yep. We're going to break down this exchange,
Yeah.
look at the specific vocabulary, and really help you understand how these big ideas are expressed through, powerful English.
And I think what's so essential to get right away is the philosophy behind it all. It's about listening to that small, quiet feeling inside.
The inner voice.
The inner voice, exactly. We're calling it the page here. It's that part of you that's like a beginner, a little unpolished, but really, really curious.
So not the expert, not the master who has it all figured out.
Precisely. And the script suggests that true learning, true mastery even, comes from embracing that page, not from just seeking rigid external control.
Okay, that makes sense. So to really get the feel for this, let's just listen to the dialogue. We'll read it for you. This is between Bear, who's the pragmatic manager type,
and Rabbit, who is his more intuitive former colleague. This will really set the emotional scene.
I saw your social media post about that new project, Rabbit. Honestly, I thought it was weird. You left a stable career for what exactly? Writing children's stories and leading intuitive workshops. In this populous city, everyone is fighting for survival, and you're chasing clouds.
It's not chasing clouds, Bear. It's about listening to a part of myself I ignored for a decade. You look exhausted. I bet you spent your whole week trying to retrieve lost shipping data and arguing over nominal budget cuts.
That's called a job. It's how the world works. You can't let your life be dictated by a vibe. If you ignore the financial hazard of your lifestyle, you're headed for a massive disillusion. I've seen people fail, Rabbit. The world isn't kind to those who don't have a solid plan.
I have a plan, but it's not a rigid cage. You've become notorious among our old friends for being the guy who forgot how to dream.
Fine. But how do you pay the bills with creativity?
I realized that the disillusion I felt at the office wasn't because of the work, but because I was ignoring my own nature. I tried to subside my curiosity and scrub away the creative ideas for years. The mastery you should be seeking isn't over your spreadsheet. It's over the fear that keeps you from being honest with yourself.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. That dialogue is just a goldmine for understanding English used in a conflict.
So let's analyze some of that language. Let's start with the vocabulary Rabbit uses to describe Bear's corporate struggle.
Mm-hmm.
She delivers that really powerful line. I bet you spent your whole week trying to retrieve lost shipping data and arguing over nominal budget cuts.
Those two words they're chosen so perfectly.
They really are. Let's start with retrieve. So that just means to get something back, right? To get it from where it was lost.
And then nominal. That's such a great word. It means something is really, really small in amount, basically meaningless.
So her whole point is that his entire week, his whole struggle, is spent retrieving these tiny things and arguing over these meaningless cuts. It just highlights his exhaustion.
It really does. But then Bear fights back with his own powerful words. He uses the language of fear.
Right. He warns her of a financial hazard.
A hazard is just a danger, a serious problem. And he says this will lead to massive disillusion.
And disillusion is that painful feeling of disappointment you get when, you find out something isn't what you believed it to be.
Exactly. But then Rabbit just flips it on him. She uses this social judgment.
The notorious line, "You've become notorious among our old friends."
And to be notorious means you're well known, but for something bad or negative. So she's saying his corporate life has actually earned him a bad reputation.
And this is where the tension shifts, I think. It goes from this external fight to her internal one.
Oh, absolutely. When she describes what she used to do to herself, she says, I tried to subside my curiosity.
And also, I tried to scrub away the creative ideas.
These verbs are they're almost violent. To subside is for something to become less strong, like a storm calming down. She was actively trying to make her own curiosity smaller.
And scrub. You scrub a floor to get dirt off. It's a harsh action.
Right. So she's using that word figuratively to talk about the intense effort it took to just forcefully remove her own thoughts. It shows you the real cost of suppressing who you are.
Which brings us to the biggest contrast in the whole script. The idea of mastery.
Mm-hmm.
Rabbit argues that the mastery he should be looking for isn't over a spreadsheet. Now, mastery means complete control or, great skill.
But it's totally redefined here. She's saying real mastery is about controlling the fear that stops you from listening to that inner messenger, the page.
And when you start listening, it might feel a little strange.
Yes. Rabbit even admits her project idea was a bit weird. And that word is important. It means unusual or strange.
It's okay for it to feel weird. That's part of the renewal she's talking about.
So, bringing this all back to you, our listener, what does this all mean for you?
Well, the idea is to use this vocabulary today.
Make it personal.
Yeah. Describe a tiny change you make as a nominal shift in your routine. Or maybe notice when a feeling of anxiety starts to subside. When you make this vocabulary personal, it sticks.
And that, I think, leads to the final takeaway from this script, the biggest lesson.
Go for it.
It's that even if you live in the most structured, populous city, the most important news you'll ever get, it's not from a news feed. It doesn't come from a task list.
It comes from that intuitive spark.
It comes from that small, intuitive spark you've been suppressing. You have to stop fearing the page inside you and just let that messenger in.
Yeah.
Because that willingness to be a beginner again, well, that's the greatest skill you can possibly master.